TFA fam, how do you do? Hope you're all doing well. We saved the best for last. Tight end is going to be deeper than it ever. No, we're not doing that again. We're not falling into that trap. There are some interesting names, some names who do make you feel a little bit warm and fuzzy inside, but I'm not falling for that trick again. Not going to tell you guys, hey, you know what? Tight end 18 actually looks pretty good this year. Not doing it again, but we are here to talk about our top 12 tight ends this early on in the process. Again, with all the other shows that we've done so far, we will have some deeper rankings the closer we get to draft season. Have a lot more content, some player versus player stuff as well that'll be coming out. So, Kev, let's hold true to what we always tell ourselves. Hey, this one shouldn't take too long. Let's shake hands on it right now. Let's make it happen. Let's dive into these top 12 tight end rankings. We both have the same number one, obviously, with Travis Kelce, and that's where it ends for us. This is kind of probably the most scattered our top 12s were for any position. You have Waller at 2, Kittle at 3, Hawkinson at 4, Kyle Pitts at 5, Dallas Goedert 6, Andrews at 7, Tanya at 8, Noah Fant at 9, Logan Thomas at 10, Tyler Higbee making a return to your ranks at 11, and then Ingram at 12. I had Kittle at 2, Waller at 3, Pitts at 4, Hawk at 5. We do both have Goddard at 6. I have Irv Smith in my top 12 for the name that I have that you do not. Andrews at 8, Noah Fant at 9, Tanya at 10, Ingram at 11, and Logan Thomas here at 12. I feel like I'm going to end up having Waller ahead of Kittle by the time we get to this season, because I just don't think that – I should probably just change it now, but we're here, so it's not going to happen. But Kittle does not have the 140 target upside that Waller has. I think Waller last year was tied with Kelce, if I'm remembering correctly, with 145 targets, I believe. Kittle is just not going to see that many in the Niners offense, with guys like Ayuk, and if Debo can stay healthy and things like that. But is that kind of what went into Waller being at 2 for you? And like I said, next time we do this, that's probably going to be the same case for me.
Yeah, I mean, look at one, the Raiders did absolutely nothing this offseason. They pretty much swapped out Nelson Aguilar for John Brown, and that's kind of the gist. They also kind of shook up their offensive line, but I mean, my goodness, if you look at Darren Waller's production last year, he is pretty much first or second in just about every damn category you can think of. He had a 28% target share, which is number one among all tight ends, number one in targets at 146. He ran a route on 91% of his routes, or of his snaps, 107 receptions, which is insane. 1,200 receiving yards, 9 touchdowns, just third. He was number one in yards after the catch. He was 2 in fantasy points per game. Number 3 in yards per route run. First in deep targets. Like, the dude just is the offense of the of the Las Vegas Raiders, and nothing's changed at all. He is going to continue to get hammered with targets, and he's going to see a ton. And so, while I love George Kittle, there's just no way I could put him ahead of Darren Waller, especially when you look at the two offenses. The 49ers having Ayuk and Debo and all these pass catchers there, where the Raiders really don't. Unless they're all of a sudden, I like Bryan Edwards not as much as the next guy. I think maybe he could possibly break out a little bit this year and get more involved, but it's just not the way the Raiders are built. The Raiders have done nothing to really address this. Henry Ruggs is still there. Derek Carr is still there. So Darren Waller is going to get hammered with targets, and I think he probably gets at least 20 to 30 more targets than probably what George Kittle does this year. So Darren Waller is a lock for me there. Past that, I have TJ Hawkinson at 4, which I think he's also going to see a ton of targets in Detroit. They have nobody else to really throw the ball to. He is definitely their alpha, their number one target, because they have Tyrell and Rashad Perriman and Amon-Ra St. Brown, who they drafted this year, and DeAndre Swift. I think he leads the team in targets this year, so it's hard not to like him. I have to ask, though, we both have Kyle Pitts high. You know, you have him a little bit higher than me. I absolutely love Kyle Pitts. But let me ask you, how would you feel about taking Kyle Pitts? This is where his ADP is right now.
Not going to be able to do it.
58.
Yeah, that I can't do it. I would not use. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't be able to do it. I can't. We both love Pitts. Dude's a freak. He's a unicorn. We both believe that he's going to buck the rookie tight end trend. You know, people always saying, you know, it takes a while for tight ends to develop and this, that, and the other, which is all true. But Kyle Pitts does not fall in that. But like I've been hearing some of this with his ADP. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I think he finishes in the top 5, but I don't know if I'll be able to draft him at that price. If you're drafting him at that price, you are basically saying without a shadow of a doubt he's going to come in and have 800 yards as a rookie. I mean, I think Hawkinson was tight end 3 or 4 last year, and I think he had like 700 something yards. I mean, to expect him to come in and do that as a rookie, could he do it? Absolutely. But in terms of draft price, I can't get there. Like I would be more than happy picking up, you know, anyone who's going after him at a much discounted price because I can't imagine maybe after Hawkins, is Hawkinson going after Pitts currently?
Yeah, so it's Kyle Pitts at 58, Mark Andrews at 60, Hawkinson at 67.8. And then there's a pretty significant drop-off to Dallas Goedert at 86, Noah Fant's going 93, Logan Thomas 98, Higbee's actually going 104, and Irv, your boy, is going 120.
Give me Irv at 120 all day over Pitts at 60.
And it's just like I love Kyle Pitts. Like there's been nobody that has been higher beating the drum for Kyle Pitts, and I think that he could definitely break this trend. And I wouldn't be surprised if he had 800 receiving yards. You know, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if he had 800 receiving yards, say 6 touchdowns or something year one. Wouldn't shock me one bit. But I am not investing that kind of capital into him. Like we talked about it earlier, like, oh, if you have him in the top 5, it's not that crazy. It's not. But actually hitting the button to draft him.
Putting that sticker on the draft board at that point.
He's never played. And like there is the possibility that he does take a little bit longer to you know, maybe he does. Or maybe he's not as involved as we like him to be. You know, whatever. It's just 58 is a bridge too far for me for that high. And I think he's going to go higher. That's the thing. We're in May and he's going 58. Just wait until that we keep hyping him, we get more. Oh my God, training camp's going to come and Kyle Pitts is balling and training camp. And he's just going to keep going higher. Like, don't be surprised if he ends up going in like the 40s or the low 30s, 40s.
So you don't think this price is like baking in some of the Julio rumors yet?
It could. It very well could. But at the same time, I don't know. Like maybe I'm to blame for this. Maybe I should also take some credit in this blame of the hype for Kyle Pitts as well. Because I don't hate it. Because I know a lot of people, there's the other side of the Kyle Pitts hate where people are like, you know, like it's like cool to be against Kyle Pitts or to down it or whatever. Like I believe that he could definitely, you know, well, I think Jeremy Shockey was the last one to have over like 800 receiving yards his rookie year. Like, I think he could definitely do it, especially if Julio Jones trade. And you're probably right. Maybe something that is baked in there. And if he doesn't get traded, maybe he falls a little bit. But I just can't do it at 58.
Not at all. I did. How are you? We obviously had Andrews higher at this time last year. I don't know. I feel like I kind of just put him there by default, to be honest. Like to draft him, like I'm not all that excited about it considering the additions that Baltimore made. Is that kind of how you felt here as well? Just kind of like, you know, the tight end is a little bit gross. Andrews is obviously super talented, but like I kind of feel like he's just like he's kind of just there because I have to have him higher than the other guys on this list.
Yeah, I mean, and he wasn't terrible last year. I mean, he wasn't Darren Waller or Kelsey, obviously, but I mean, he was 4th in fantasy points per game. His 25% target share was 3rd. He had 89 targets, which was 9th among all tight ends. Ran a route on 89% of his snaps. Had 58 receptions for 701 yards and 7 touchdowns. Like, it's not terrible for a tight end, right? But he's still going at 60, which is not terrible. But like, the thing that worries me the most is what they've added. Is that they didn't have Rashad Bateman last year. You know, Sammy Watkins is there too as well. Like we always forget. And well, you don't, but everybody else does. Tylen Wallace. Like they've added a lot of pass catchers here. And for an offense that doesn't throw the ball very much anyways, they were dead last in pass plays per game. And so it's just not like I think keeping him this high, I think is kind of a little bit of a mistake because of all the things they've added. I think he takes a little bit of a hit unless you think that this offense is going to have to throw the ball more. And so lowering him down a little bit, I don't really mind. And I probably will have 0 Mark Andrews because of where he's going. Because once you like some of these other tight ends, you know, Robert Tonyan could just certainly change if Aaron Rodgers is traded. If he's there, I think you feel better about, you know, Robert Tonyan in this offense with Aaron Rodgers another year with them. They didn't really add a whole lot out of Amari Rodgers. So, you know, Robert Tonyan is going to get a ton of targets with Green Bay. Noah Fant, you know, I'm still waiting for him to kind of have that monster breakout year because it's coming. He is uber athletic. Absolutely love him. Logan Thomas. Now, the reason I have Tyler Higbee so high is because Gerald Everett is gone from Seattle, or he went to Seattle, which I think really helps Tyler Higbee's upside. You know, we kind of saw it a couple years ago whenever Gerald Everett went down and Tyler Higbee went ham. Now you add Matt Stafford, who's a much better quarterback than Jared Goff, and I think it's going to be pretty tough for him not to. I mean, again, another team that didn't really do a whole lot. They brought in Deshaun Jackson, who's going to be a part-time player. Van Jefferson is still there. You know, I just think that he is going to be on the field a ton. He's going to see a pretty decent target share. So I think he's pretty easy top 12 for me.
I couldn't get there with him. I get with Everett being out, and at that point at 11, like I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna try and sit here and really go at you for that one because it's tight end at 11. At the end of the day, would I be surprised if he finished, you know, as a back end tight end 1? No, I wouldn't. But even with Everett being gone, like trying to like look at coaches and be like, all right, we saw how Higbee ended 2019, and then in 2020, you just threw Everett back into it because like they were splitting, you know what I mean? They're obviously splitting snaps. The route participation for both of those guys was not great, probably because they were eating into each other's workloads there from last year. But I don't know, man. And I think with the additions of Deshaun Jackson and then Tutu Atwell, with those two, I think we see a more of an emphasis on downfield passing, and you know, like you were alluding to, the difference between Stafford, even at his age, versus Goff's is something that's a pretty big discrepancy for me. I know you feel the same because you've been pounding the Matt Stafford drum for a while. But just to go back to Higbee real quick, his route participation was 29th last year, and he was 20th in routes run. So his snap share was up at 79%, and that put him at 12th. And Everett's was much lower than that. But like, I don't know, like maybe it's just we got bitten by that snake last year, and I don't want to go back to it. But that was someone I was actually a little surprised to see Higbee sitting there in your top 12. And again, top 12 for tight end is such a low bar. Like I'm not going to sit here and, you know, like try and go at you for that one. But that's just one of those guys that I could not get there. Like I would be more likely to put one of the New England tight ends up in my top 12 versus versus Higbee. Like, I just feel like he should have been able to clearly beat out Everett, especially with the way that offense was regressing last year and not looking anywhere near the levels it had been the years previous. And having a weapon like Higbee there to use, I don't know. That was just one of those ones where, and I don't think you're alone with having Higbee up here either. I know there are some other people talking about putting Higbee back up in this kind of range. He's just one person who, I will probably fade this year. And if he bites me in the ass for doing that, then so be it. But I'm kind of just off him.
Well, I mean, if you look at some of the other numbers on him, past kind of just your normal stats, but I mean, 44 receptions, 522 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. It's not terrible. He was 11th in yards after the catch, which is a positive sign. 1.65 yards per out run, which is 11th among all tight ends. And he was also 8th in fantasy points per target, and he was also 6th in expected points added as well. So, and third, his QB rating when targeted was 3rd among all tight ends as well. So, I think there is some still stuff to like here with Tyler Higbee. And I think with adding Stafford, I think this just elevates him even more for me. And without Gerald Everett, I think we really could see, a pretty big season for him. Is it going to be a monster season? No, but I think a top 10 tight end is definitely.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised, but that's also a low bar to reach with tight ends anyway. I'm kind of staking my guy with Irv Smith this year. I just feel like with, been seeing Thielen getting banged up the past couple of years, he's obviously, on hit closer to the back nine than he is the front nine of his career. And I just think someone with his athleticism, if we want to talk about someone leaving a room, I think with Kyle Rudolph getting out of Minnesota, that's going to be really big for Irv. And I think that the passing offense anyway is going to go through Jefferson and Irv Smith. So, I mean, outside of this, I think it's these top 12 are pretty cut and dry. Do you have a late round guy you've been targeting in best ball or anything like that, or a guy who you're not quite ready to put into the top 12, but you think could be looking at a breakout?
Well, I do love Irv, right? Like, we're always swerving with Irv, swerving with Irv. I'm going to do that every time. I love it. But I like Irv Smith. I do. I like him a lot. The only reason I don't have him up here is because a little bit of the offense that he's in is that really trusting him on a week-to-week basis is going to be a little bit tougher because he's in a low-volume pass offense. And so that's one thing I consider. But in terms of like a late-round tight end, guys, Adam Troutman continues to be a guy that I love. In an offense where there's not a ton of people there, it's Michael Thomas and Traquan and, Lil Jordan Humphrey, and some of the other guys that they have there, there's definitely some targets there. Jared Cook is gone. And so I like Adam Troutman a lot. I think that, I could talk myself into a Cole Kmet, especially with, the initiative they've had. And Chris Herndon, I have not given up on Chris Herndon. I'm not giving up on him. I know you've given up on him. I have not. I am sticking with Chris Herndon, a late round tight end. Somebody you could add in this offense, this Jets offense that should be better with Zach Wilson, and no Adam Gase, the player killer. So I am sticking true with Chris Herndon. I'm going down with the Chris Herndon ship. You jumped off. You hedged and jumped off. I am staying on, and I am, like Titanic. I'm over here, holding out, and he's holding on to me, and we're on the front of the ship, and Celine Dion is playing, and he's like, "Do you trust me?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do. Let's go."
And on that note, I don't think there's anything left to say. I'm going to let that image soak into your brains and leave you with that one. Please be sure to check out the other ranking shows that we have done. If there's anything you guys want to see from us, please let us know. We're always looking for to help you guys out. If it, 2 quarterback, 2 tight end leagues, auction, whatever you guys are doing with your redrafts this year, let us know if there's something you think is missing that we can help contribute to in terms of content on YouTube and podcasts and everything else. let us know. Hit that subscribe. Reach out to us on social. Leave a rate and review on podcasts, and we'll talk to all of you guys real soon.